Howdy everyone, and welcome back to Wannabe LetterBoxd with me, your host Fabiana Rosario, and today I will be talking about Frankenstein, which is directed by Guillermo del Toro and is starring the lovely Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, and Mia Goth. And yes, I'm very excited to talk about this movie today. It was one of my most look forward to movies of this season, so I'm really excited to get started and talk about it today. So, if you follow Guillermo del Toro's career at all, you would know that this movie obviously isn't a typical Frankenstein movie where it's typical monster movie, horror, scary. It's definitely has the gothic tones, it's romantic, and it's definitely an emphasis and exploration onto what it means to be human and human nature, and truly like how us as humans can be the monsters we create, if that makes sense. So yeah, so from the first frame of the movie, I mean, Del Toro is of course a director masterpiece. His cinematography is beautiful. The world building of this film is ridiculous. I genuinely felt so immersed the entire time I was watching it, and it is just so visually striking, and also thankfully the visuals match the performances and just the vibe of the film as a whole. It's also very emotionally striking, and it really does resonate with the audience. The film definitely leans into the loneliness that Frankenstein's monster feels, or the creature. It's not a horror movie, like I said. There's no jump scares. It's not very scary. It definitely leans into the melancholy, the sadness of it all. And it, again, obviously, the point of the film is to get across the point that the real horror or the real monster isn't Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster. It is Victor himself and his ambition and his desire to be successful and someone that people will remember. Now diving into performances. So Oscar Isaac is Victor Frankenstein in this film, and he plays him definitely not as the regular cartoonish terrifying like mad scientist vibe. He definitely leans into the fragile, sort of desperate side to Victor. It's very much driven less by ego and more by like fear. So it's like the fear of being insignificant. Like I said, he wants to be someone that is going to be remembered and like will have a legacy. So Isaac has always been great. We love him in Moon Knight, love him in Star Wars, but he's always really good at portraying, I feel like, men that are unraveling, and he does, obviously this film is no different, and he really does lead the film with heart and with fervor, for sure. And Jacob Elordi is definitely the standout of this film. He garnered himself an Oscar nomination, and which is awesome and so exciting, and he's the creature, and truly, he is transformative. Like, truly, you don't know it's Jacob Elordi. It is incredible. He doesn't play the monster, obviously, as monstrous. He definitely it's as if watching like a wounded child or a wounded animal like function, watching his creature, and I feel like it definitely makes you root for creature versus like, you know, again, placing emphasis on that the real monster isn't the creature but, you know, Victor. And yeah, Elordi's performance is fully just transformative, and it really is the standout of the film. He's gaining a lot of recognition as he deserves, and yeah, it's really awesome. And then I also do want to touch on Mia Goth as well, and she is Elizabeth, and she is just so, she's always been a very ethereal actress, and I feel like just presence in film and media, and she, of course, is no different in this film. She just adds such like a beauty and just true kindness to Elizabeth's character, and it's just really beautiful, and she is obviously ultimately the human cost of Victor's ambition and like drive and desperation. And again, it's that much more heartbreaking because she is so incredible and is so kind and just so pure in her curiosity and discovery and wanting to, you know, help support creature. And I just think that she's also a great standout in this film for sure. Now, to quickly touch on the themes of the film, definitely dives into abandonment and mortality and all the things and human nature. And yeah, of course, the creature isn't evil in the film. He's unloved. He feels like a wounded animal. He is portrayed as like almost like a wounded animal and a little child. And yeah, and there's also an undercurrent in the film of like faith, and obviously like the theme of Frankenstein is that Victor, the scientist, he's trying to play God ultimately. And so I feel like in the film, there's definitely that undercurrent that he's not trying to just like build life or whatever. He's trying to be this greater thing than he is because he's so desperate to not be insignificant in his legacy. And visually, of course, like I touched on a little bit at the beginning, the world building of this film is, again, ridiculous. It is just fully just transformative. Now, to quickly touch on and wrap this up, we're going to talk about the film's Best Picture Oscar chances. So, the film hasn't garnered as much attention as One Battle After Another has, or even as Sinners really has. The film is beautiful and perfect and awesome, and I think I gave this film, I want to say 4 stars on LetterBoxd. And if it lands, they has a chance at Best Picture. However, and the Academy also loves Guillermo del Toro. He won for The Shape of Water, but it's definitely just depends on the tone of the season. It doesn't necessarily look like it is a front runner or contender, but it is not completely out of the running, I would say. But yes, Jacob Elordi definitely could be an upset in the supporting actor category. So we'll see how that looks out. But production design and costume design are definitely in the front runners for that for sure this Oscar season. But yeah, ultimately the film is great, and it isn't the typical, science-y horror version of Frankenstein. It very much touches into the emotional arc of the book and the story itself. And I think the film is great, and Guillermo does an excellent job. And yes, that's all I feel like for my opinions about this. And yes, next week I think we are going to be touching into Hamnet. So I am so utterly excited and a little bit scared to see how much this film emotionally wrecks me. But yes, can't wait to catch y'all next week on my episode. Thank you.